the performance of employees over a given period of time is one of the important thing why we need employee performance, right? To judge the gap between the actual and the desired performance. We'll always have a difference, and then it needs to be measured, it needs to be checked, it needs to be figured out what is expected and what is actually being delivered. To help the management in exercising organizational controls, help to strengthen the relationships and communication between superior, subordinates and management employees. To diagnose the strength and awareness of individuals so as to identify the training and development needs of the future. To provide feedback to the employees regarding their past performance. Provide information to assist to other personnel decisions in the organization, provide clarity of expectations and responsibilities of the functions to be performed by the employees, to reduce grievances of the employees, to judge effectiveness of other human resource functions of the organization such as recruitment, selection, training and development. It is very, very important for us to measure employees' performance. So three words that come out when we say employee performance, they are like knowledge, skills and ability. Knowledge is information or a data particular and specific to a particular subject, empowering a man to comprehend a subject to a satisfactory level. Skill is developed or created, inclination or capacity in the specific intellectual or physical domain. And ability is inherent, internal talent, skills, or proficiency in a particular area. So in the process, the way it happens when we get information, when we know different things that comes to, we gather this, acquire this as knowledge. And when you apply this knowledge, it slowly converts into skill, and then you practice it again and again and again, and then it becomes a skill. Once the skill is mastered, it becomes an ability, it becomes your inherent talent then. That's how these three things work nicely. So there are a few reasons why performance could become poor. Poor performance you could see among people because of maybe low motivation, poor work ethics, poor peer relationship, or lack of skills and ability. The moment abilities and skills are not available, performance automatically gets bad. Maybe personal problems, people bring it on office and bring it at work and stuff, it happens. Lack of time and unfamiliar with equipment or processes. Like new people coming in, they would not be so much aware of the processes that are there and different equipments that needs to be used. Once these things are not in place properly, employee performance could be poor. So to define a performance goal is going to be the key thing. For this purpose, it is crucial that the company should define well defined and clear goals and work efforts to each employee. And when I say each employee, it's each and every individual I'm talking about. Each employee should clearly know his performance goals and work efforts. He should know towards which direction he's working each day. It is essential that the goals and work effort defined should be specific, measurable, challenging, practically feasible, and encourage participation. The main purpose of any organization is to make sure that all the employees work towards the strategic goal of the company. And it is possible only when the goal is clear, the efforts are very clear, and every individual is very clear about what it is and how that needs to be done. So the possible performance measures could be through customer perspective. When I say customer perspective, it's basically to achieve organizational vision with customer needs must the individual serve. Possible performance measure could be customer satisfaction, right? Average customer satisfaction. Satisfaction gap analysis, which is basically the satisfaction with the level of importance. Satisfaction distribution, which is percentage of each areas that is scored when we measure the customer feedbacks. Financial perspectives could be the second possible performance measures. To satisfy organizations' constituents, what financials and regulatory objectives must an individual accomplish? Possible performance measures could be costs per unit, unfunded requirements or project, cost of service, budget projections and targets. Those could be looked at when we talk about financial perspective. The third one is internal perspective. Internal perspective is basically to satisfy organization's customers in which business process must an individual excel. Possible performance measures for internal perspectives could be cycle time, could be completion rate, workload and employees utilization, transactions per employee, and errors or rework. Right, when a process is involved, you got to figure out what small things inside the process, depending upon the kind of process it is and how it works. That's the internal perspective. The fourth one is learning and growth. To achieve organization's goal and accomplish core activities, however, must an individual learn, communicate, and work together. Possible performance measures are like employee satisfaction, retention and turnover, training hours and resources, and technology investment could also be possible performance measures for learning growth. Now, how do you measure employee performance? See, measuring an employee performance is very, very crucial in all aspects. For example, many of you would have visited a gym, right? When you go to a gym, have you observed there are mirrors all around? Right, all around mirrors are basically trying to show you what is your current state, right? And then from there, every day you measure the performance, and then you slowly go ahead. Imagine a gym without a mirror. I don't think much of a thing can be possible inside it, right? It's very important to have it there. Similarly, every employee, right, performing every task needs to be measured. You need to see the performance. You need to see how are they going. You need to figure out what are those performance indicators to measure these, their performances. Employees' productivity is one of the key measures. Average sales turnover per employee, for example, on average profit per employee, or value added per employee, right? Every employee should know their productivity. Employee turnover or loyalty, like percentage of employees that leave the organization in a given time period. Average length of services. Employee cost could also be a measure. Like say employment cost as percentage of sales or turnover, right? People drawing their salaries and different other costs for an employee versus the profits that we are making or the sales turnover that we are making. Employees cost per employee, right? Or the employment cost per employee, or employment cost as percentage of operating costs could be the employee cost thing. Recruitment process, like average lead time to recruit employees, or average cost of recruiting of employees, or average number of applications received per vacancies. These are all few of the measures that you could take with regard to recruitment process. For example, remuneration and benefit benchmarking. You could look at average salary paid versus competition or industry and geographical norms. Benefit provided versus competition and industry. Again, we could also compare it with geographical norms. Willingness of employees to recommend the company as an employer. The percentage of employees who are willing to recommend the organization as an employer to a friend. It's like an NPS score. Percentage of applicants or appointees that have received recommendation from the current employees could also be a measure to look at it. Employee development, like percentage of employees that develop individual development plan, or employees that fully execute their individual development plan. Career coaching, right? Employee career coaching could also be there. Like percentage of employees that participate in career coaching programs, or percentage of employees that have been assessed in the assessment center. Skills and competencies availability could also be a measure. Average lead time to develop skills, competencies that are required. Average lead time to close skills or competency gaps, or in a percentage of required skills or competency available within the organization. Training budgets could also be seen, like expenditure on training and staff development per employees in a given period. Employee satisfaction with training programs, percentage of training courses, participants that are satisfied, highly satisfied, not satisfied, should be in a position to measure it. Percentage of training courses, participants that are, as I said, dissatisfied, or they're like not happy with anything and everything that's happening there. Impact of training, right? What impact of training created? You could measure it by percentage of difference in the rate of productivity before and after training. percentage of difference in defect rate before and after training, proportion of training programmers resulting in productivity improvements is also something that you could figure out the impact of training. Employee motivation could also be a measure for employee performance. Percentage of employees that are committed to the organizational goals and objectives, percentage of employees that are considered to be highly motivated. Availability of training courses that match organizational requirement, or percentage of training courses that match employees' personal requirements. Average number of courses requested but not offered. Internal promotion opportunities could also be considered. Average lead time to promotion, average lead time for promotion from bottom grade to senior management. Percentage of managers, senior managers who have been promoted internally. So there are different tools for gathering this performance feedback, and you could use those tools like reports are a wonderful tool. And we have weekly reports, we have month-end reports, we have quarterly reports. When you look at reports, you would understand how team is performing, how individual is performing. Reports are a wonderful tool to do that. Follow-ups of the tasks given, follow-ups of work that's happening, how are we progressing, could be used as a tool for gathering performance feedbacks. Evaluations and coaching could also be used as tools, right? While we coach and when we work on these evaluations are wonderful tools for getting the performance feedbacks. The few questions to manage and improve employee performance. These questions need to be thought through. Like few of them are like this: what do you like and dislike about working for this organization? What elements of your job do you find most difficult? Has the past year been good, bad, satisfactory, or otherwise for you, and why? What do you consider to be your most important achievements in past year? What do you consider to be your most important tasks in the next year? What elements of your job interest you the most and least? What kind of work would you like to be doing in 1, 2, or 5 years' time? What can be done to improve your performance in your current situation? What sort of training or experiences would benefit you in the next year? So these kind of questions, when you ask, right, will help you to manage and improve employee performance. In your conversations, these are something that needs to come out, and we should be in a position to discuss these things. Strategies for improving employee performance. You can use a number of strategies. The first one to start with is a role clarification. The employee as well as the organization should be very clear about the roles and responsibilities of each individual in the organization. Developmental goal setting is the second one. The goal sets for each employee should look at the present needs and also be developmental to help the individual to grow in his or her career and also simultaneously benefit the company as well. Ongoing performance monitors could be the strategies for improving employee performance. Like each individual's performance should be continuously monitored at regular intervals by holding performance appraisals at least once or twice before the annual appraisals. Ongoing feedback. Continuous performance monitoring will help the organization in providing ongoing feedback about the individual performance and help improve the performance and bring it in line with the organizational goals. Feedbacks are super critical, and when given on time, it works wonderful because you will be in a position to correct them and move ahead, right? So ongoing feedbacks are wonderful strategies for improving employee performance. Goal alignment. The goals set for each employee should be in direct alignment to the company's strategic goals and company's vision and mission. If they are not aligned, then there is an issue with alignment and that needs to be worked out. Coaching and support. Any kind of gaps found in the individual's job-related knowledge or performance can be filled by providing coaching and support in the form of training. Standardization. The entire employee performance improvement process should be standardized to maintain consistency between one employee to the other. Continuous open communication. An open communication should be encouraged between the employees and management with respect to their performance and any other concerns or suggestions that employees may have. trained appraisers. The manager should be diligently trained in the process of performance improvement to help them overcome the obstacles in performance management and improvement. It's very, very important. Rewards, recognition, and compensation. Employees should be appropriately rewarded, recognized, and compensated for efforts put in by them in the growth of the company. Mutual trust and confidence. There should be mutual trust and confidence between the employees and the management, which will ensure that both understand that each one is working for others' benefit and favor. Performance-related interviews. There should be performance-related interview conducted to gather feedback from the employees about the performance and discuss the performance-related concerns and queries there. Review and appeals. There should be clearly laid out protocol to accommodate any kind of individual appeals to the appraisals conducted and reviews rating given. Reliability. The design of the performance management process should be such that it should give you reliable results that help the management to make the correct decisions. Specific objectives. Each individual performance should be measured against specific laid out objectives which are clear and not vague. Right, these are few of the strategies for improving employee performance. Now let us look at competencies for improving employee performance. Competencies refer to skills or knowledge that leads to superior performance. Competencies are individual abilities or characteristics that are key to effectiveness in work. Competencies are not fixed and can usually be developed with efforts and support. Competencies can apply at organizational, individual, team, and occupational and functional level. Competent is when a person is qualified to perform to a requisite standard of a processes of the job. Competencies, on the other hand, means the condition or state of being competent. Some examples of competencies required for employees are adaptability, motivation, commitment, creativity, independence, analytical reasoning, foresight, leadership, and emotional stability. Right, and most important, it is communication skills. Those are few of the competencies that are required for an employee, improving employee performances. Now, how do we use training for improving performance? There are four basic steps, like you identify, you develop, you implement, and you evaluate. Let's understand each in little more detail. When we need to identify and distinguish the problems or issues impacting the business operations and employee performance. You must keep in mind that every one of the recognized performance problems or issues can be solved by means of training. That's the step one, which is identifying. Step two is develop. Prioritize and organize the identified or distinguished needs and create training goals. Develop and create the training content. That's the step two. Step three is implementing. Implement and execute the training solutions that is developed for use in imparting training. Whatever we have planned, we develop, now it's time for implementing it. That's the step three. And the fourth one is evaluate. Assess and evaluate to compare employee team performance before and after training. So the four steps, which is identify, develop, implement, and evaluate. Now this is something which needs to be followed to ensure how well we use training for improving performance.